Video bites from ulearn.photography. Here's our principal, Simon Q. Walden.
Hello, welcome to another video bite, and today's is a bit of a list. I'm going to give you a list of the things that I take for a location shoot. And I strongly believe in the power of the checklist. And you should have a checklist of all the things that you think you need to take on a photo shoot. Now, before I get into this, I'm just going to apologise because I am reading this off the teleprompt, but it does mean my eyes are going to be wandering around the place while I actually read the list, which is not something I normally do on these video bites. So, in no particular order, I take 2 cameras. I only expect to use one. The second camera is there as a backup, but I always take 2 cameras. I make sure I have my speed light flash in the battery pack, and that's true of any kind of location stuff. Even if I'm taking additional flash units as well, I'll always make sure I've got the speed light. Obviously, lots of cards, lots of batteries. Part of the checklist process is that you've checked the day before, at least the day before, that you have fully charged batteries and spares for your flash, for your camera, for your whatever else you might need batteries for. I take the smallest camera bag I can, because that's the one that I'm going to be wandering around on location with, and I have the other equipment cased up in the car should I need to go get it. But I like to travel when I'm actually working as light as possible. I take my Spider holster. That's a hip-based holster for holding the camera. I don't like other kinds of camera straps that don't work for me. Again, I'll always sling a tripod in the back of the car. I might not be anticipating using it. Kind of depends on the shoot. Obviously, sometimes the tripod is fundamental to the shoot, but you know, I'll always have it there because, again, you don't know when it might turn out to be useful and needed. At least one light stand, even if I'm not taking studio lights, I take one light stand to use with the speed light. I take a towel in case it rains, in case it's wet, in case something gets dirty. I take a box of clips, just assorted clips for clipping things up, clipping clothes up, clipping things out of the way. I will have an appropriate coat for the time of year, which might just mean a warm jacket for summer, or it might mean a seriously padded, so keep you very warm all day job for the middle of winter. For me, I'm not a big one for taking food, but I will take Mars bars, chocolate, sweets, anything to keep my sugar levels up. And I'm a sucker for coffee, so I'll also take extra coffee. And actually, on weddings in particular, I would take a spare pair of clothes. And that sounds a bit odd, but here's the story, is I went to shoot a wedding on one of the absolute wettest days of the year when the rain was coming down torrentially and being blown horizontally. I was soaked. Now, this was all first thing in the morning before everybody's even arrived at the church. I am already dripping wet. So I worked through the church, do the reception, do the post-reception pictures, which frankly were very limited because it was chucking it down. I could have spent the entire day then in my dripping suit. As it happened, I was very fortunate. My studio was exactly between the wedding venue and the wedding reception venue. So I was able to stop off on the way, change into some dry clothes. Otherwise, that would have been a horrible day. And ever since that, for weddings, I always have a spare pair of clothes in the car as well, just in case. You never know, somebody might spill coffee all over you, or you know, anything might happen. So anyway, so that's my kind of standard checklist. And as I say, it is a printed checklist. When I, first of all, and I run through it in 2 ways. I collect all the gear together, ticking it off on the checklist as I go. And then when I transfer it out to the car, I tick it off on the checklist again, just to make sure I really haven't forgotten anything.
Subscribe now for regular tips and updates. To find out more, go to ulearn.photography.